Hi there and welcome to Yum Paleo. Today we're going to be making a pumpkin, cashew and beef curry. So to start with, I'll just run through the ingredients. Now, because it's paleo, we can't use rice, so I'm going to be using cauliflower rice. We've used this in quite a few dishes now, so if you already know how to do it before, it's quite simple. You just grate up, this is 2 cauliflower heads we've got here. So I've just grated that up, and then I'm going to add a bit of ginger to it as well. And then we just add that to like a wok, stir it through in the heat, and that should be done in about 3 to 5 minutes, so it's relatively quick. Then I've cut up, this is half a pumpkin, so I took all the skin off and cut it into smallish size cubes like that. And then I've got coriander and kaffir lime leaves here, so these will go into the curry. And the kaffir lime leaves, I just cut these in half and put them in just to give them that aroma, and then you don't really eat them, so you can take them out when you're eating the meal. Also got 2 limes here, which I'll get the juices out of into the curry. Got some chili flakes, cayenne pepper, cumin, garam masala. Now this has got a few different things in it, and you can pick it up at any local supermarket really, so that's going to add some nice flavour to it. I've got some almond butter, which I'm going to experiment putting in with there, because I think it might add a nice kind of like a peanut satay kind of taste to it, so it should be really nice. Then I've got looking at 2 handfuls of cashew nuts, which I'll add in the end before we serve it. And then I've got roughly half a kilogram of this is premium beef, so it's just been cut into strips, so it's ready to stir fry when we go. And then I've got a can of coconut milk as well, so we'll add that into it to get it that curry paste going. And I've also got some ginger, which I'll be adding into the curry and the cauliflower rice, as I said before. So to start with, I'm just going to preheat this fry pan here. So just plug it in. Now I'm just going to let this heat up for a minute, and then once that's heated up, I'm going to add the beef to it, and then once it's browned on all sides of the beef, I'm going to start adding some spices, and then the pumpkin as well, because the pumpkin, depending on what size they are, they can take a bit of time to soften up. And now the thing is, you don't want the pumpkin too soft or too hard, because if you don't cook it for long enough, they'll obviously be hard in the center, and then if you do it too much and add too much moisture to it, then they can go mushy. So yeah, just make sure you've got a nice consistent size with them, and then if you check one of them and they're fine, then they should all be relatively good and cooked all the way through. So right, okay, so that's getting a nice bit of heat to it now. Just going to add in a little bit of olive oil, and you can use coconut oil as well if you want, but because I'm using the coconut milk, I thought it might be a bit overpowering with too much coconut in it, so I'm going to try this out. Okay, get the oil around the pan. Okay, now I'm just going to check in the beef, so just put it all in there at once. Just start moving it round so that you get all the beef across the pan. They're all cooking evenly. See, all we want to do is really brown it on each side. Yep, it's already starting to brown. Beef normally shows instant results when cooking, so just make sure you turn them over. Okay, so the beef's nice and brown now, so I'm actually going to add some of the almond butter. So just scoop that out. I'm only going to use a teaspoon. Now this, you don't have to use this if you don't want to. It's just an optional extra. I'm actually going to add in the pumpkin now. There's quite a lot of pumpkin there. I've put in half a pumpkin. Now you can cook them separately if you want to. I might even take out the beef out of this one and just set the pumpkin cooking here, because there's quite a lot of it. So if you do that, then that's fine as well, and then you can just reintroduce them together. So yeah, I'm just going to take the beef out of mine and then cook the pumpkin, and then I'll put it back in. So I'll see you back when the pumpkin's done, and that when that's done, we'll start putting all the spices and stuff. Or you can add it when the pumpkin's already doing, so that they mix in well. Okay, so I've taken the beef out of mine, so I can just let the pumpkin cook. And then once this pumpkin's nice and soft, I can reintroduce the beef back into it. Okay, this pumpkin's been cooking for a bit. It's still quite hard, so just keep cooking it till it's softened up a bit. Just make sure you look at the temperature and make sure it's not burning and stuff. I'm actually going to add some ginger to this, so all I'm going to do is just chop some bits of the ginger off, and then I'm going to grate it into it. So if you can do that, that'll be fantastic. And then just add it back into the pumpkin. Okay, so I've got some of the ginger, sorry. I'm just going to shred that just a little bit into the mix. Great, there we go. Okay, so this pumpkin's been in there for about 5 minutes, and I realized it was taking quite a while to soften up. So what I've done is I've added around about half a cup of water in there, and let it soak up that water just to let it soften up a bit. And now beforehand, if you want to, you can boil the pumpkin, like blanch it in some hot water and then introduce it to the fry pan. It would just be a quicker way of doing it, as the pumpkin would already be soft. But now that I've added water to it, it seems to be softening up quite a bit. So yeah, if you think it's like taking too long, just add some water and let it soak it up. And yeah, it should soften up in no time. But I'm just going to give this a few more minutes, and then we'll look at adding all the spices and putting the beef back in. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the pumpkin now. It's quite soft. And remember, when we leave it to cook, we're going to leave it for about 20 minutes, so it's going to get softer then as well. So I'm just going to reintroduce the beef back into the dish. And then I'm going to start adding some of the spices now. So I'm going to put in some cayenne pepper. Now this is quite strong, this stuff, so I'm just going to put in like 1/3 of a teaspoon or 1/2 a teaspoon. That'll do. Next I'm going to put in some cumin. Change a spoon. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons of this. So that's 2 teaspoons, sorry, or 1 tablespoon. Just a tiny bit more. Then I'm going to put in some garam masala. I'll just shake it out. So roughly a nice bit of that in. About a teaspoon. I'll put the chili flakes in when I've put the coconut milk in. Just going to chop up some coriander as well to put that in. Now I'm using fresh coriander here, but if you've only got ground coriander or dry stuff, then that's fine. It'll still taste really good. So once that's in there, just mix it up a bit. Some nice colours going on with the orange of the pumpkin and the green coriander. Okay, so now this is an optional choice, and I forgot to mention at the start, is lemongrass. Now you can use like lemongrass in its natural state, or I'm using this is lemongrass paste, so it'll still taste the same. But yeah, just putting like a tablespoon of that in. Put that in, just a tiny bit more. Just mix that through. Now I'm going to add some lime. I'm just going to squeeze these into there. Now I'm going to use 2 whole limes for this recipe. You can use lemons as well, you mix them up. Just do the last one. So after we've done this, I'm going to add the coconut milk in, then we'll mix it, and I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to let it sit for 20 minutes while on low heat. And also I might just add a bit of salt and pepper. Just a nice little sprinkling of that. And again, just mix it through. You can add more of the spices if you wish. Like if you want it a bit hotter, you can add more of the pepper. Or if you like it milder, then you don't have to add it at all. It's completely up to you. But being a curry, I thought it might just need a little bit of a kick. Okay, so now I'm going to add this is 1 can of coconut milk. Just going to turn it down a bit. And then just mix it through. Make sure it's all incorporated and some of it's not left alone. Okay, so now I'm just going to pop the lid back on. And we're going to leave this for 20 minutes. So I'm going to be back in about 15 minutes and then we can get started on the cauliflower rice. And then once that's done, this should be ready to take out and we'll serve up. So I'll see you soon. Okay, so welcome back. We've got about 5 minutes left on the beef and pumpkin curry. I'm going to get started on the cauliflower rice now. So I'm just going to quickly grate up some of the ginger. So I'm just going to cut out some of the skin. I'm just going to grate just a little bit into it. Scrape those bits out. Great. Okay, so now I'm just going to get a wok. Just going to cook it in here. Okay, so we'll get this heated up and we're going to chuck the cauliflower rice in. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan. Then once that's heated, we're going to chuck that in and we're just going to toss it around for a bit. So I'm just going to clean these tongs that I was using. No, that looks like it's hot enough. Make sure it's not too hot. Alright, now we're just going to chuck it in. I might not put all of it in because there's quite a lot there. You can do it in stages, like if you think there's too much in there, just leave a bit out and then take this out and put the other stuff in. What we're trying to do is just get heat to all of the cauliflower and just make sure it's had just a bit of time to cook. So it's real simple. You just get your cauliflower, grate it up, and then just chuck it in a wok or a fry pan with a bit of oil, and it's really simple. Let's get that little bit out. Okay, so this has been on the heat for about 3 to 5 minutes now, and I think that's ready. So I'm just going to turn it off. And we'll be ready to serve. So yeah, this looks like it's going really nicely. As long as you're happy with it, you can give it a little taste if you want. Then when you're happy with it, we can dish it up. So just get a plate. It smells pretty good. Okay. Just make sure you get a nice serving of everything in there. Get a bit of the rice. Cool. And there you have it. A beef pumpkin cashew nut curry with cauliflower rice. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you for the next recipe.